The San Francisco 49ers look to add a new DC or maybe someone with a familiar face. Robert Saleh is expected to be the favorite to land as the 49ers defensive coordinator. We're going to talk about this report that has come out from ESPN, discuss where we think this is going to head, of course, and we can open it up for other conversations surrounding the San Francisco 49ers as well. But I want to hear from you guys what you guys think the 49ers should do for their new DC. So we're going to talk about it all right now, but drop an SGS in the chat, smash that like button. And as always, smash it. Yeah. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Let's go. We are back in the building. And we are going to talk about where we are at with the San Francisco 49ers new defensive coordinator position. Shout out to all the SDS. It's our first Friday with no 49ers football coming this weekend. There's still plenty of football. We'll have playoff football starting this week. We have bowl games going off today. We're going to have Texas going versus Ohio State. This is going to be a big game. Again, a lot of prospects to keep an eye out in this particular one. So I'm excited to watch that game and get a look at some of these guys. And on top of that, also, we will have other things to discuss. But let's talk about this situation that is developing with Robert Saleh. So, as it currently stands right now, Robert Saleh is expected, or he is currently the favorite to be the 49ers' next defensive coordinator. This comes from Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, both of them talking about how they believe that basically if Robert Saleh doesn't get hired as the head coach for either the Jags position or the Raiders head coach position, that he will be the 49ers defensive coordinator. He says, Graziano says, a few people I've talked to expect former Jets head coach and former 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh to be the favorite to land back in San Francisco to fill their open defensive coordinator position. And so that's not bad. I'll take that. I'll take it for sure because we need something. And you know, I talked about this when I made the video about this, and I've seen some of the comments. A lot of people are like, man, it's just another retread. It's just another rinse, wash, repeat of the same thing, trying to fill these gaps and just retread after retread after retread. I look at it like this. The San Francisco 49ers have had two statues for defensive coordinators. When it comes to Steve Wilks and Nick Sorensen. They literally had to pull Wilks out of the booth and they said, put your feet on the sideline, look these guys in the eyes, let's show some energy, show something. And when you really, and then with Nick Sorensen, I'm not sure I've ever seen that guy show an emotion in my life. So when you look at the 49ers defensive coordinators that have had success, you look at guys like Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans. Both of them extremely emotional. Now they're calculated. They are, good defensive coordinators and play callers. But when something goes good, man, they're jumping up on the sideline. They're celebrating with their players. And I think that really is where the 49ers also need to adjust on defense is they need a shot of energy. They need someone to help them light a fire under their butt. And if you don't remember, Robert Saleh, all gas, no brakes. He was the one who developed that saying with the San Francisco 49ers, and they need that gas back because we've seen a lot of brakes, not a lot of gas by this defense over the last 2 years. So I'm hopeful, man. The way that I look at it is with the Jaguars and with the Raiders, they just don't seem like two organizations that need defensive minded head coaches. So I'm really hoping that it doesn't work out. And not because Saleh doesn't deserve to be a head coach, but because I selfishly want him to be the 49ers DC. Again, I've said it multiple times. I didn't even think he was going to consider the job. I really didn't, because I would assume that he was going to try to get back into being a head coaching role. And even if he was going to accept a DC role, I didn't really know if he would be open to returning with the 49ers. But it sounds like he is. It sounds like he's absolutely open. And it sounds like that if he doesn't get either of those head coaching jobs, he will be the 49ers' next defensive coordinator. So I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much. I'm really not trying to like, oh, okay, he's ours. Because I feel like when we do that, when I do that, it's like they pull the rug from under us. You guys want me to be the DC? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think so. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but I would much prefer Robert Saleh comes back. 49er fan says, Brad, please tell me how many draft picks 49ers have in 2025 draft. According to John Lynch, he said he's expecting 10. I think why he said he's expecting is because they have to wait for the comp pick formula to be officially announced so that they know what picks they are getting back via compensatory picks. But as John Lynch had said in his exit press conferences, they are expecting 10 draft picks heading into this class. I don't believe they have a 5th round pick this year, but I do think they have 2 4s, I believe. So anyways, I just hope that the 49ers can you don't want me for head coach either. But I appreciate the confidence. I'll be you know what? I'll be, like the kids that run out and they get the kicking tees. I'll be that guy, you know. I'll steal the kids' job away. Let an adult handle this. Me just running out onto the field to get the kicking tees. Special teams coach, I don't know about that either. O-line coach, I think we're getting a little warmer. We're getting a little warmer. I would absolutely be a like assistant quality control offensive line coach. I don't even think I would take the assistant O-line coach job. I just want to be that guy who's basically like getting the coffee for everyone and getting the whatever the head or the Forster needs. What do you need, coach? You need me to set up the bags? I'll set up the bags for you. I'll do that. Water, bro, dude. Honestly, I think one of the more underrated jobs that you could have in the NFL, like if you're not a coach, is equipment managers. I think the EQ guys got some of the best jobs, like especially from like my perspective. Like, I love football equipment. So like, I got my helmets, I got, all kinds of random football gear. Like they not only do they do all the gear stuff and, of course, no one thinks about all the laundry that they have to do, but they have a lot of laundry to do. They're constantly getting the guys their gear. They're setting up all the practice stations and getting everything good to go for them. But also, um, they are like they become like part of the coaching staff when the practices start. Like they're the receivers in some drills. They're the DBs in some drills. They're playing scout team in some drills. Like the EQ guys, man. Shout out 49ers EQ. They might have one of the coolest jobs ever. Like, I think of one of my guys. um, he's Rob is he's an EQ guy, but he's also the boombox guy. Like, how cool of a job is that? Like, like not only do I get to vibe out with the 49ers all the time and like be a part of practice every single day, and running around with all these players, but I'm also carrying the boombox out for these guys. Like shout out my guy Rob. Um, so it's a cool job, man. The EQ guys, I think they got it good. Unnamed heroes. Might not know who they are, but they do a lot for the 49ers. But anyways, um, I don't even know how we got onto that topic. But we'll see. We'll see. It sounds like there is a lot of positive momentum for Robert Saleh to return to the 49ers this year. We just need the Jags and the Raiders to not want him. That's it. And I think he's ours. So, we haven't heard anything else about any additional interviews. The 49ers have satisfied the Rooney rule, so they can actually hire someone right now. There's no waiting. Theoretically, they could do it right now, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how it progresses. But I would love for this to be over with sooner rather than later. I would love for the 49ers to be able to make this decision quickly, get the guy in the building, and start preparing for free agency in the NFL draft, and just get these boxes checked. Hire special teams coordinator, hire defensive coordinator, get it done, check it off the box, bing, bang, boom. We're done. We got our staff. Let's go. No drama, none of that stuff. Now it doesn't sound like the typical way that the 49ers operate, right? But I hope it is. I hope so. I don't know. I don't know when we will find out, but hopefully sooner rather than later. So we'll see what it is. Does anyone want any other defensive coordinator over Saleh? That is available. I know one of the more popular names right now are guys that aren't available. So of any of the available defensive coordinators, is there anyone out there that you would actually want over Saleh? Because I think all the guys that we would hope to get, they're already DCs, and that we're not going to make a lateral move to get them to go from a DC over there to a DC over here. And the guys that, like I said, I see someone say Vrabel. He sounds like he's going to be the head coach for the Patriots, or at least has a good shot at it. And to me, it makes sense if he does go back. So Wink Martindale, okay. I think if you got Wink based on his reputation, now I'm not going to pretend like I've been following Wink Martindale's entire career and all of that stuff, but I do recognize his reputation, and I do recognize that he's highly regarded, and so I would be open to it based on the perception, alone. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Spagnolo, the only way I see Spags getting a job is if he gets hired as a head coach. Otherwise, why would you leave? Spags has got it made in the shade right now with the Chiefs. If I'm Spags, why would I go to the 49ers rather than just staying put? Why would I do that? Like, he's already building a legacy as the best defensive coordinator in the league with what he's doing with the Chiefs. Why would he leave? He got a raise last year. So it's like I don't see any incentive for Spags to leave. Unless he's getting a head coaching job, which I think he deserves. I think he deserves to get a shot at it. So we'll see, but I definitely don't think Spags is going to be an option at all. What are my thoughts on the Notre Dame defensive coordinator? That's interesting. It's an interesting thought. Again, I don't think he's a guy that I have a ton of experience with, so I can't speak with any authority on it. Interesting though. Deion Sanders? Deion wants to be a head coach. I don't think he would come for a DC role, especially with what honestly, I think Deion Sanders got probably one of the most best setups right now at Colorado. If I'm him, I'm just riding it out at Colorado for a while. I'm not moving. He's got it made there. Anything he says goes. Yeah, I'm not moving if I'm Deion. Pete Carroll, I would actually be open to the Pete Carroll thing. Not ahead of Saleh though. I would be open to it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think Pete's a great coach. As much as his gum chewing over the years on the sideline has upset me, and how much he made my life as a 49er fan living hell for a little while, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't think he would be my first guy I would like, but I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it, especially with him getting a start in the NFL with Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers. So it'd be kind of like a full circle moment for him. I see Richard Sherman's name brought up quite a bit, but I haven't seen any indication that Richard Sherman wants to coach. And if I'm Richard Sherman, Dickie Sherman's got one of the most comfortable jobs right now. He's got his podcast. He does Thursday Night Football for Amazon. He's chilling, dude. He's got a great gig. And I mean, it gets brought up all the time, and every time it gets brought up, he says, I'm not interested in coaching. Because if he was, he would be coaching. It's really that simple. Patrick Graham, I've seen. Okay, so this is a couple times you've mentioned Patrick Graham. So let me do a quick little. I don't know. I don't even know who that is. Phenomenal last name, though. All right, Patrick Graham. He is a former player. He's defensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders. He was also defensive coordinator for the New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins. Inside linebackers coach for the Green Bay Packers. And he was also an assistant coach for the New England Patriots. Oh, he's been coaching for a long time. He's been coaching since 2022. His first stop in the NFL was with New England in 2009. He was with New England all the way through 2015. Wow. So he is a Belichickian defensive line coach with the New York Giants for a year, linebackers coach, run game coordinator in 2018, defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins in 2019. So that would have been under Flores, but that only lasted 1 year. Assistant head coach and defensive coordinator for the Giants for 2 years, defensive coordinator for the Raiders. So he's got a lot of experience. I just don't know much about him. I don't know enough to be like, oh yeah. But he's definitely got a lot of experience. Thoughts on Dante Whitner? I think Whitner, you bring him on to be like an assistant DB coach. Absolutely. If he's open for it. But he's also another guy that has a pretty solid media job right now with NBC Sports. So I don't know if he would be open to that. But I think Whitner, you talk about energy guys. Yeah, I like Whit. that would be a great guy to have. So, but like as I would say as like an assistant. Oh, now I'm the general manager. So far you guys have hired me as the defensive coordinator, the head coach, the offensive line coach, the water boy, now the general manager. I appreciate that. That makes me feel great. I don't know if I can accept. John Lynch is doing a phenomenal job, at least in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to take his job. I'll be a consultant. He can just ask me questions, and I could just tell him what I think, and then he'll be like, "Yeah, you're an idiot. No, thank you." He'll be like, I'll start talking. He'll be like, "Never mind. I forget I asked. Forget I said anything." They bring me on, and literally all I do is just pester them with, you have to draft this guy. If you don't draft this guy, it'll be the biggest mistake you ever make. You will absolutely regret it. And they're just like, who decided to let this ginger bearded guy in here? Whose idea was this? I'm just sitting there like hitting him in the side of the neck with spitballs. Like we're in the draft room. I'm just like, like trying to get their attention. And I'm like hitting them in the neck. And I'm just like, draft the guy I want. And they're like, get this security. Get this guy out of here. Get this guy out of here. What are we doing here? They'd be like, oh my gosh, get this guy. Okay, now I'm CEO. Now I'm CEO. Okay. I'll take a talent acquisition role. Starting guard. I'll help you find the starting guard. Definitely not. I'm not even sure I can get into a stance anymore. Ooh, okay. Running the NFL kick step clinic. I could do that. We could learn some offensive line pass protection rules for sure. We could cook something up. Absolutely. No, I don't. Definitely not this. Definitely not. Um, but anyways, oh, this one's interesting. Rex Ryan would be 49ers 25's top choice for defensive coordinator. Um, he's been out of football way too long, and I think he runs a 3-4. So I don't know. Oh, can I kick? Uh, can I kick? Nah, I can't kick. I can't kick at all. Coaching is a grind. Believe it or not, so is content creation. Believe it or not. I wouldn't be surprised if my hours that I spend doing what I do, maybe in season, not right now, now that's the off season, I can kind of be a little bit more flexible with my time. But I would say in season, I would say my hours. I wouldn't be shocked if my hours resembled similarly to what coaches are putting in. Like, what was it? What day was it? I think it was the day before the exit interview press conference. I went 15 hours straight, no breaks. I sat down and I started making content at 7 a.m. and I did not get up and finish. I didn't take a single break and I did not finish doing something work related until 10 p.m. that night. I went from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. straight, no breaks. Just I sit back, I'm like, dude, how do I put this much time into this? Like, obviously it's a lot of work what I do because I'm a one man content machine and I've got 4 million platforms that I execute. So it keeps me extremely busy. But I'm just like, dude, I'll be just grinding content, making content, jumping from platform to platform to platform, different content, content here, content there, content here. And I'll look up, I'm like, oh, it's been 5 hours. That's crazy. Will I do recap of the playoff games on your live streams? Yeah, we can talk about it. I was actually planning on talking about some of the playoff games today. We still got to do some sleeper picks, baby. So, matter of fact, we could do that right now if we want. Oh, hey Brad, would you draft best player available with the first pick or go a specific position? I think um I think it is a combination of both because I've been asked about like uh taking Genty at 11 and he might be the BPA at 11. I don't know if I'm taking Genty at 11. And that's no disrespect to Genty and that's not me saying that I think he's not worthy of being that pick. It's the 49ers don't need a running back at 11. That's just how I feel. Now, could they shock the world and potentially do that? Of course. They typically do what I don't think they're going to do sometimes, and that's pretty normal. But when I look at this draft and I look at the 49ers running back room and I see Christian McCaffrey, I see Isaac Guerrero, who's proven he can be a guy that they can rely on. JP Mason is a restricted free agent. Who knows? Maybe they get Elijah Mitchell back on a really cheap 1-year prove it deal because he missed all this season. I would feel really bad for them to take a running back at 11 to not play him. That would be the most 49ers thing ever to do, and I hope they don't do that. I don't want them to take a running back so he can get, 40 snaps on the season. If they are drafting at 11, they need someone who is going to start. That is my thought process. With how these drafts have gone these past couple years and how everything has, they have really missed on consecutive drafts in a row. Not last year. Last year they did a phenomenal job. But in the previous drafts, the 2023, the 2022, you can even look at the 2021. They've had 3 years of a lot of misses. So they have to go someone who is going to see the field this year. The one of the reasons why the Ricky Pearsall pick was kind of a head scratcher was like, is he going to see the field? Because they had BA at the time, Debo, and Jawan. And the best that you could do with Ricky was he was going to be the fourth wide receiver. And we already know last year, Jawan, as the third wide receiver, didn't even produce 300 receiving yards. That's why I didn't like the process of the pick, because I'm like, man, all right, well, our first round draft pick's not going to play this year. And he's a wide receiver, and we know that Kyle Shanahan makes it very difficult for rookie wide receivers to actually get onto the field and be productive. So when they had selected Ricky, I'm like, I like the player. I don't love the process, because the process to me was like, you just drafted a player who's not going to play. Now you have a situation where obviously BA goes down for the year, and that opened up the door for Pearsall to get more run, and he was able to contribute and be someone that I think the 49ers will be happy to have in the future. But when we're talking about process and we're talking about specific position versus best player available, they went specific position with Pearsall over best player available, in my opinion. And it was the player that they wanted, and it was at a position that they wanted to get that player, and they did it. And I think it will work out in the long run. But I think when you're picking at 11, you have to get someone who is going to step on the field. So it either has to be a defensive tackle, in my opinion, an edge. It has to be a potential tackle / guard, because I do think there will be a hole on the offensive line, and that needs to be filled. So I would like to see that happen. And there's really only a handful full of jobs or positions that fit that. I would be open to the right defensive back at that pick as well, as long as I know I'm getting a day one starter. But again, that I don't think I'm drafting a off-ball linebacker at 11. I don't think I'm drafting a running back at 11. I don't think I'm drafting a wide receiver at 11. The only way I'm considering a wide receiver at 11 if McMillan is available. Other than that, I don't think I'm going wide receiver at 11. So although it's BPA, it's kind of a combination, if that makes sense. It's BPA within a allotted position group. So if they're not in that position group of edge, DT, offensive line, potential secondary, so I think you get what I'm saying. It's kind of a hybrid. It's kind of a hybrid situation. Like even like if Tyler Warren, after what we saw with Penn State, for me, like Tyler Warren at 11 just seems a little too high for my taste. He seems like he would be great beyond pick 15. Um, but 11 seems high, and the only way that you could justify so the only way for me to be able to justify Warren at 11 is if you trade George Kittle. That to me is the only way that makes sense, because again, taking a tight end at 11 who is going to play behind George Kittle, although you could do some cool things with two tight end sets and Warren could be a great player, I don't see enough snap share opportunity for Warren as a rookie or a second year player or a third year player if you extend Kittle for it to for that to make sense. So you would have to trade down, which I don't think you should do, because I think you need to address certain positions. And so for Warren, it would actually be a trade up. I think you would have to trade up into the first to get Warren. And so that makes it a little tricky. But at 11, I don't love it. I don't love it. I like Warren a lot. I think he's a phenomenal tight end. I think he is going to be a sick pro at the next level. I don't love it at 11 at all because of what I just explained. So for me, it has to be it has to be has to be something that the 49ers can plug in and get an impact right away. So what's going to be fascinating is if the 49ers at all maybe try to move up. I think I think Abdul Carter might have played himself into the completely out of range of the 49ers. Um, I think he was someone that we would consider, like, have absolutely considered at 11 before that bowl game. But you can already tell that Abdul Carter is going to go through the scouting process. He's going to go. I'm not sure if he's going to the Senior Bowl or not, but you also have to look at what these guys are doing, and you also have to project out how they are going to perform at the combine, how they're going to perform at the Senior Bowl, and that is how they continue to build hype and they continue to build their draft stock. So we're already seeing right now how Abdul Carter is being perceived. He's being perceived as a top 5 lock, and if he goes through the draft process and only runs faster, jumps higher, and does all just continues to body the pre-draft process, there might be no chance that the 49ers have a shot at Abdul Carter. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how he's perceived. From a pure pass rushing standpoint, he looks like as natural of a pass rusher that you can get your hands on. So he's solid, man. He's very tactical as an edge rusher. I mean, you could see it right away. He's got the bend, he's got the speed, he's got the moves, and he was doing it with like one shoulder, which was crazy too. Um, so we'll see, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the 49ers do. Um, I did a video on this today. Currently, and I'm really excited to see Kelvin Banks today. I know Kelvin Banks was dealing with an injury last week. As I've told you guys, based on first impression, I have Will Campbell as my offensive tackle 1. He's my OT1 right now. Based on my first watch of all those of the top 3 offensive tackles. Like I said, I still got work to do on a lot of these draft prospects, but with how I'm looking at it, I still got Campbell ahead. And so basically, but I am going to be watching Banks today. Like I've told you guys, I went into Kelvin Banks Jr.'s film expecting to see like an all-world tackle the way that everyone talked about him. And again, that's why I don't love going into prospects film with preconceived perceptions of them, because I it's hard for me when it doesn't match. And so when I got into Kelvin Banks's film, it didn't match. It didn't match what everyone was telling me. And like what Invader says is, I saw a guard. I saw a guy who is a little too slow, a little too big to be a tackle at the next level. Now, more Tate might change my mind. Maybe seeing him at the Senior Bowl will change my mind. Maybe seeing him run at the combine and move in some on-field drills to be like, all right, he does have feet. He does have the ability to do it. Will change my mind. But just off, and I'm in first impression mode. I'm not my evaluations and my grades, they're not cemented at all yet. I'm in fact finding mode. And so with where I'm at right now, what I'm looking for Banks, and maybe you guys can look at it too in this game coming up, and he's got some great talent he's going up against. He's going against Sawyer. Sawyer is a name to pay attention to for the San Francisco 49ers. Like, let's say, for example, maybe the 49ers don't get an edge in the first round. Maybe they can get Sawyer at the top of the second. Who knows? Maybe we'll have to see where he falls in regards to his draft ability. But that's a matchup that I'm looking for. Kelvin Banks Jr. versus Sawyer. And I want to see how he holds up. I want to see how Banks moves. And with Banks, it's all about how he moves. I want him. And he was dealing with an ankle last week, so that might have been a little something. But I just want to see it. And I haven't seen it yet. I've seen that he's been capable. I've seen that he can move guys, and I've seen that he's not a bad offensive lineman. I'm not going to say that. I just was expecting more. I was expecting more from Kelvin Banks based on the way he was described, and he didn't necessarily fit kind of the mold that I was looking for. And even with Will Campbell, I still think that what I've seen from Will Campbell has him as the best offensive lineman so far that I've seen, and there's still more guys that I need to look at. But when I project out who I think is going to be a good tackle, I see that he has all the requisite traits that you need to be able to be an elite tackle or even a top guard in this league. So I like Campbell. I like Campbell. And I talked about it today on Twitter that if you draft Will Campbell, there's two options with him. You can try him out at right tackle. And as I express all the time on this channel, it is not a foregone conclusion that a guy who's probably only ever played left tackle in his entire football life will flip over to the right side and have success. Look at Penei Sewell. We talk about that all the time. He's like the perfect example for that. They tried him at left tackle, didn't look good, so they flipped him back to right, and they're just like, just keep him on the right. And so with Will, that would be the thought process. Let's try him at right tackle. I would put McKivitz at left guard and see if that setup works. If Will Campbell doesn't feel comfortable at right tackle, then I would keep McKivitz at right tackle, and then I would put Campbell at left guard. I think it would work in either scenario, but I think that is how you also justify the pick if he is somehow available. Is, yeah, you want to pick the guy, but you also need to figure out where he's going to play. And so that's how I would assume you could fit him in. You try it at right tackle, kick McKivitz down, see if that works, and basically just have him flop between right tackle and left guard and see where he fits best. See what position he seems to gravitate to the best, and then that's how you slot him in. And so that would be an interesting one. but there are still plenty of opportunities for me to. I still got a lot of prospects to watch. I feel bad because so many people keep asking me for my opinion on a lot of prospects, and I feel like my response is I gotta watch them. I'm like, I got a lot of homework to do. But I'm gonna do it. Trust me, I'm gonna do it, and it will definitely take some time to get through all these guys, but I'm trying. I'm trying my best. And now that the offseason here, we're going to be able to get through a lot more prospects. Um, but so far, I think the 49ers are going to find themselves in a pretty good spot at 11, and they're going to find themselves with the opportunity to, I think, do do a bunch of things potentially at that spot. So um, we'll see. We'll see what's going to go down. But I'm excited, man. I'm really starting to get excited about all the draft stuff and really sink my teeth in. Yeah, I was actually just talking about this. We were talking about how I'm watching Kelvin Banks Jr. versus Sawyer. That's like the number one matchup um, that I'm looking for is because I do think that Kelvin Banks was a little bit banged up. And I'll be honest, I had already watched 2 to 3 games of Banks heading into the last college bowl game with Texas. And I was not a fan of what I saw from Banks's performance in that game, but I do know he was banged up with, I think, the ankle injury. So what I'm going to be looking for is a little bit of redemption. Um, I want to see Kelvin Banks versus the duo of edge rushers. I mean, both tackles basically, Banks and Williams versus Tui Moleau, JT, JT, and Jack Sawyer. I want to see those matchups. So those are going to be the big matchups that I'm looking for. Um, I'm I'm a little sour on Banks, but again, I'm not trying to give a definitive opinion yet because it's not definitive. It's I'm still in my preliminary portion of everything, and so I'm not quite ready yet. I'm not quite ready to give my full opinion on him, but I was expecting a better mover. Um, he he reminds me like the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, that looks like Lincoln Tomlinson playing tackle, and that's not typically what I would prefer my tackles to look like, which is like because Banks was the first guy that people kept asking me for my opinion on him, and when I got into it, I was like, kind of looks like a guard. And I didn't know people were saying that Banks was a guard. And then I started to see that everyone's like, well, everyone keeps saying that Kelvin Banks is going to be a guard at the next level. And I was like, oh, well, that makes me feel better um, because I was expecting some like all world like tackle the way everyone talked about him. And I was looking at him and I was like, he doesn't even really look like a tackle to me. Invader says this is the worst offensive line class in a long time, and that's what I was also saying. I was like, based on like what I'm seeing from Banks is like I don't think he would be in the top 5, 6, maybe even 7. of last year's draft class. So that's my first impression of him. I could be wrong. He might come out tonight, have a phenomenal night, and might make me kind of reevaluate my thought process. But again, the things that Banks, from a concern perspective, are feet. I've seen him stop his feet um, in pass protection. Hold on. What? All right. Well, this is interesting. So the four. This is weird. Um, so the 49ers had, or at least according to Kyle Shanahan, had elevated Clay Kubiak to be the offensive coordinator. According to NFL rules, you cannot promote within without having an open offensive coordinator search. So the 49ers, although promoting Clay Kubiak internally as the offensive coordinator, will now have a search for an offensive coordinator. That seems ridiculous. So we're going to have to now waste everybody's time and have interviews for a job that has already been filled. What a weird rule. If you want to be able to hire within, you should be able to hire within. It says, despite 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan saying this week he would name Clay Kubiak the offensive coordinator, NFL rules do not permit that. Source tells NFL on CBS the team will do an open search for their open corner OC position. According to Jonathan Jones. What a I'm just going to flat out say it. What a stupid rule. What a stupid rule. The 49ers will open a search for their OC position due to NFL rules not permitting an internal promotion without having an open search per J. Jones. So even I'm making a post, by the way, bear with me. So even though Kyle Shanahan has promoted Clay Kubiak to that role, The Niners are still required by rule to execute a open search. What what a dumb rule. that is I'm just gonna flat out and say it. That is a stupid rule. All right, you wanna promote a well-deserved internal hire? Too bad. Too bad. You gotta bring in a bunch of interviews of people who are not gonna get the job. We're gonna waste your time. We're gonna waste their time. We're gonna waste your money. We're gonna waste their money. And what a dumb rule, dude. What a dumb rule. That's a crazy, crazy rule. All right. There you have it. There you have it. Makes a lot of sense, right? Sorry, Clay. Now watch the 49ers go through this interview process and be like, actually, Clay, we're gonna keep you in the same role we had, and we're gonna actually promote someone else. We're sorry about that. We that wasn't the intention, but because of NFL rules, we actually found someone that we like better than you. So we're gonna actually keep you in that role, and we're gonna hire someone else. What a ridiculous, ridiculous thing to happen. But anyways, it is what it is. NFL and their rules. So apparently, we're having an offensive coordinator search now to go along with our DC search and our. So that would have to also apply to the special teams thing. So if they wanted to do internal hire for special teams coordinator, they still can't do that. They would still have to open it up to a job search. Again, effectively wasting everyone's time and money. Makes sense, doesn't it? Sure does. All right. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I'm excited to watch this game. This game's about to get kicked off here pretty soon. We didn't. No, we got to do our picks. I'm tripping. We still got to do our picks, bruh. Let's talk about some of the playoff matchups coming up this weekend. What playoff matchup are you guys most looking forward to this week? Drop it in the chat. Which one? Which playoff game makes you the most excited? Because we're sitting on our couch watching from home. So we get to, whether you like it or not, we get stress-free football Sunday this weekend. So I see the Ravens game, Rams, Vikings, that game got moved to Arizona. Chargers because of Jim. Ravens versus Steelers, Ravens game. The Ravens versus Steelers one is a pretty good one because that's just a historically good matchup because they're division opponents and they're always good teams that play. Green Bay versus Eagles, the Commanders matchup. I kind of like the Ravens versus Steelers one because we might be able to get some good picks out of that one. we might be able to get some good ones out of that. So we're doing picks. We're gonna do our we're gonna make our slip. Um, the only unfortunate problem about it is we don't have the luxury of doing our 49ers pick. So I'm just gonna pick one game, and then we'll make a little ticket and we'll see if it hits. We'll see if it hits. So we got Minnesota versus Los Angeles. That game will be in Arizona. We've got Tampa Bay versus Washington, Green Bay versus Philly, Denver versus Buffalo, Pitt versus Baltimore, and LA versus Houston. Actually, not some bad. There's some pretty good matchups, not gonna lie. I'm gonna do, let's see. I'm 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 leaning towards Pitt, Baltimore, Minnesota, LA. Those are the two. Do I got a coin? I'm gonna flip a coin. Let's go old school. Let's go old school. All right. Oh, we're gonna go tails. We're gonna go tails. Pitt, Baltimore. We're gonna go head, Minnesota, LA. Drop your bets in the chat. What are we landing on? Are we landing on heads or tails? Which one, chat? Which one? What? How do you feel the coin is going to land? I said, I'm already forgetting what I said. Heads, heads, LA Vikings. Tails, Pitt, Baltimore. Let's see. Oh, we got heads. And I said heads is Minnesota, LA. I think. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it is. I already forgot. Now I understand why it's so hard for refs. Heads, I'm just picking Minnesota Rams. I might have switched that up, but I don't care. So let's talk about it. Ooh. Do we go Sam Darnold interceptions? No. No. No, we don't want to do that. Let's do, I want to do Puka. Puka's been balling. Oh, they know he's been balling too. Oh, his number, everything for Puka is super high. 7.5 receptions. I mean, dang, he's been clearing that. So we all agree on the Sam Darnold interception. Beautiful. I think I'm gonna go. Puka is a reception menace. I'm gonna go over on 7.5. He had 10 receptions last week, 8 before, 7 the week prior, but then 12 before that. So I'm gonna take a bit of a shot on Puka. Puka and Jordan Addison looks interesting to me. Yeah, I'm taking Jordan Addison over receptions. Easy money. Easy money. And if I play $5 on this ticket, $25. So if you just play $5 ticket, you use my promo code the SF Niners if you haven't signed up before, and then you hit this little ticket, you'll also have 55 direct into your wallet to play for the future. And on top of that, you would win 25 just by playing $5. And that's how you make wild card weekend more interesting when you don't really care. And that's the beauty of playing sleeper, is these games that we don't care about. Now we're like, all right, we got a little action on it. So I went Darnold over on INT, Puka over on receptions, Addison over on receptions. $5 ticket gets you 25. Use SF Niners. First time playing, you will get 55 straight into the wallet. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So we'll see if we hit. See if we don't hit. We'll see who the 49ers are going to be interviewing, because that's just crazy, in my opinion. But what do you expect? What do you expect? So we'll see how it goes. But appreciate all you guys. Our first Friday of the off season, no games. I'm kind of excited. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Sundays are typically work days for me, so I get my Sunday back, which is nice. But we'll be jonesing for our football fix here. Probably only be a couple weeks, and then we're going to be like, all right, we wish football was back. When's 49ers football going to start again? But for now, I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Appreciate everyone who jumped in today and continues to vibe out on our off-season content. Again, as we get further and further into the off-season, more and more draft content, more and more free agency content, all that good stuff. We're kind of in that mode where we're in that like head coaching search area now of the off-season. So once we get through that, we'll probably find out within the week, within like 7 days of what the future is going to hold for the DC spot and some of these other ones. But again, appreciate all you guys as always, and we'll get that all figured out, and I'll give you updates whenever we get them. Grab your cookies on the way out. Appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you on Monday. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.